This week on PREVIEWSworld Weekly, we discuss Toy Fair being postponed, Deadpool finally joining the MCU, and whether or not the Punisher should be punished. It's all happening right now on PREVIEWSworld Weekly.
What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for PREVIEWSworld Weekly. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood, aka the Duchess of Free Comic Book Day. And to hammer this point home, Free Comic Book Day is taking place in 2021, but on August 14th.
Okay, all right. So you guys hear it. Just mark it in your calendars, lock it in your head, put it in your phone, August 14th, and stop sending us direct messages wondering when it's going to happen. Because although that'll never stop, but whatever.
It's not going to change anything. Just check the profile. I promise our profile has the date in it, in our profile picture.
It's always up to date, guys. Once we know, you know. That's just how it works. But also, I want to introduce our special guest this week. We're hanging out with Cannon Doll X.
Hi.
Brought her toys.
With us. And why do you have toys? Why do you have toys exactly?
Because I'm also the host of Talking Toys, where I let you know what hot new collectibles and toys are hitting your local comic shop.
All right, I love it. Awesome,
Perfect, right?
I know this for a fact, but like I kind of forget it sometimes. That Gizmo and Yoda and Baby Yoda are kind of like from the same brainchild, or like come from the same headspace because they're both Frank Oz, Jim Henson creations, right? Isn't that the deal? Yeah. So yeah, and so I just like kind of occurred to me as I saw that on screen. I was like, oh yeah, they're like both the same thing.
Similar head shapes.
Similar head shapes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Long ears.
That's how you know they're separated at birth.
Super cute noises.
Right, exactly. And they can do badass things depending on the situation.
Yeah, very true.
So actually, speaking of toys, Natasha, you heard the Toy Fair was canceled, right?
I did for this February that normally happens. I love going to Toy Fair. It's really, really awesome as a toy fanatic fan. Being able to see all these great creations and prototypes and everything before anybody else does is really, really exciting. But they took the step to keep all of us crazy toy fans safe, and they canceled the February one. But Dallas is still going on as of right now, and it's in October. So
okay, all right.
There's still hope. There's still hope to be able to see some first looks for 2021. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. No, you took the words right out of my mouth. Fingers crossed that we actually get some sort of normalcy by October. We'll see what's up. We don't know quite yet. Yeah. No, there you go. Yeah, there she is talking to Zach Oates at DST. You can catch all of Natasha's talking videos on PREVIEWSworld's YouTube. Yeah. I mean, that's actually part of the fun of watching. Part of the fun of watching is watching you react to this stuff. Yeah.
Let me tell you, a lot gets edited out.
I bet.
There's a lot more nerding happening.
She did an interview with Todd McFarlane at New York Comic Con last year. That was just like the most hype thing. It was like going on behind me, and I was like, "This is a lot of manic energy."
There was fans in front of me. So Todd and I were standing here, and there was fans in front of me here, and then everyone who was working in the Previews and Diamond Select booth, I could see them in my peripheral, like standing off to the side over here. It was definitely like. I already had the pressure of interviewing Todd McFarlane, right? And like making sure I'm hitting all the talking points, all the important things, and then seeing everybody else kind of fanning out and geeking out in the background of like trying to listen in and hear what the new things are, and and then seeing smiles on their faces too, which is also really cool too, and gives you like a cool feeling. And and Todd is the best. He's like one of the greatest guys to interview because he's so nerdy. Like he's just really honest and very grounded human being, period. Like when I first initially met him, like my daughter was only a couple years old. And I mean, this is obviously years old later. My daughter's 6 now. And he was asking about her. He remembered her, like all this kind of stuff. And that's really, really cool. And but like you get him it's like any of us, who are fans, you get him talking about something he's passionate about, and he could just keep going.
Yeah.
And that's like really exciting and fun. And, you know, as the interviewer, it's like, yeah, like go on. Oh, but I have to wrangle you in a little bit. But no, keep going, you know. So it's really tricky, but always a delight to talk to Todd for sure.
I've always felt like one of the reasons Spawn 300 kind of like just shot up the sales chart is because he kind of went on this like, you know, just promotional tour, you know, for the book, and his enthusiasm is infectious. You know what I mean?
Oh, it totally is. Yeah.
Yeah, so people just got hyped for it, and then they were like, I'm going to get Spawn for the first time in years, you know?
Yeah.
So it kind of plays out. Yeah, I'm going to miss Toy Fair. I haven't gone in 2 years, so I mean, it's not that big of a deal for me, but I love it. It's one of my favorite things to go to, like straight up. So yeah, it'll hopefully October rolls around and we can see it again. Ashton, I didn't even ask you this before the show. Do you have anything that you have going on this past week that you wanted to talk about?
This past week?
Yeah.
This feels like a question that I'm supposed to have an answer for, but I don't even understand the question.
Okay, that's fine. That's all right. That's totally okay. I know you wanted to talk.
What did you have for breakfast? Go on.
Right, cereal.
No, I mean, I know you want to talk about Deadpool and the MCU. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I wasn't sure if you had anything else you wanted to talk about. Skipping ahead, actually, I just want to give a shout out to 2 people who passed away this week. So I'm gonna start making you do this, Ashton. I feel like I'm always the one that has to talk about the people that passed away.
I'll talk about the people that passed away. I'm okay with that.
Okay, all right. Maybe it'll be better if it comes from you. You have a sunny disposition. I'm just sort of like, oh my God, sorry. So one of them was Stephen Lytle, and Johnny, if you can throw up some artwork by him. Yeah, well, that's Stephen Lytle right there. Natasha, you're an old school X-Men fan like me. I remember seeing these classic X-Men covers.
Yes.
Back in the day, and it didn't occur to me that this was him until he passed away recently. But these covers are phenomenal, and like he did a
perfect.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
They're just so perfect and like classic, just classic comic, but then just even more so, obviously classic X-Men, and just like that sucks you in of, you know, your eyes can't focus on one thing. You want to look at and try to find all the details of everything. And I happen to be wearing my X-Men today too. And beautiful pieces, like real, like that's kind of that artwork that you want framed on your wall too. Yeah,
exactly. No, yeah, like it reminds me a little bit of Charles Vess, but definitely like that high fantasy art style. But yeah, he passed away last week, and like, you know, I just want to give a little bit of acknowledgement because, like I said, I didn't realize he was that artist until I looked it up. I was like, man, I remember seeing those covers before I knew what X-Men was. And like kind of being like, man, X-Men are weird. I don't think I'm ever going to read them. Well,
look what happened.
There you go. Whoops. The other person who passed away is Julie Strain. Julie Strain was a model. She was a Playboy Playmate. She was the face of heavy metal for like a couple of years as well. And she was also on the cover of the Heavy Metal 2000 anime. And they did a little short film which featured her as well. She's been a cover model for a lot of stuff, including Vampirella. But yeah, she apparently had been dealing with a bunch of medical issues in the last couple of years and ultimately succumbed to them this past week. So, you know, thoughts go out to their family and friends. And like I always point out with these people in the industry who have passed away, they have been immortalized. So don't feel too bad, guys. Like they have been immortalized because of the covers and the artwork and just like, you know, the things that their work means to other people. So there you go.
The legacy can live on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, that's more than I can say for most people. So there you go. All right, let's do some What's at Comic Shops. Natasha, Ashton, and I are going to give you our picks this week, and then we're going to put you guys on to some cool stuff that's dropping. Here we go. What's at Comic Shops? All right, cool. Natasha, since you're our special guest, I'm going to let you go first. What is your pick this week?
My pick, it goes out honestly to my 6-year-old, is the Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
It's I can't even say the word afterward. Shinooing, whatever. He gets to be in like the Alps and has snowshoes, and he snowboards, and he does like all this fun stuff with Tails. And you know, if it's Sonic and Tails, you know, it's always going to be an exciting, fun, good time. So it's definitely a comic book that I want to pick up. But honestly, for me, my real top pick is not a comic book.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay.
It's a toy. I know. You're shocked. You're shocked.
Very on brand of you.
Right? It's the wonderful Jack Skellington PVC diorama from Diamond Select Toys. It is by Joe Allard. And I love Joe Allard stuff. And then it was also, it's designed by Joe Allard, but then it's sculpted by Cortez Studios. And that teamwork is always amazing. What I love about these PVCs, these dioramas, is they're such an affordable piece. But you'd have no idea if you looked at them because they're so detailed and refined. And the beauty of it is, like, me, who's a parent, like, if, I have it out and my kid goes to pick it up, I'm not going to freak out because it's not, it's PVC and it's like durable PVC. So it's not just going to lose an arm or a candy cane. So
that is kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah. And it's just such a beautiful piece. And it's so cool. It's something that you can have on your shelf all year round if you're a Nightmare Before Christmas fan. So that's really my pick.
I definitely am. I definitely put that on this past right before Christmas. That and Lethal Weapon and Die Hard and
nice
The Long Kiss Goodnight. So there you go.
Yeah, I totally had a Jack Skellington wood wreath that we hung up for Halloween, and it still just stayed up there all through Christmas. So I was the rule applies Halloween to Christmas.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's still hanging up.
I'm actually embarrassed to admit our Christmas tree is still up, but I kind of feel like we need some extra. Yeah, I feel like we need some extra cheer this year, just coming off of 2020 alone. So whatever.
I turned the lights off the other day, and then I turned them back on like 2 days ago, and I'm all, I'm gonna leave this on for a little bit longer.
It makes you feel good.
Yeah,
it makes you feel good until you take it down and all the pine needles get everywhere because you didn't water it for 3 weeks. But that's besides the point. It kind of is, I'm sure. But actually, no, I know I'm not alone in that anyway. Ashton, what is your pick this week?
Okay, my pick this week is Knights of the Golden Sun from Mad Cave Studios. So this is a number 9. Admittedly, I'm not all the way caught up. But I'm using this as an opportunity to put this on your radar because I recently stumbled upon this title and it is the coolest concept. I love it. So it's a biblical epic set during the 400 years that separate the Old Testament from the New Testament. And so in this time frame, neither man nor angel can kind of hear God's message. So this giant power struggle breaks out between the archangels and the fallen, or what you would call demons. And they're kind of trying to jockey for favor with God and who would, control his throne and sit at the right hand and all of that. And it's, at the risk of sounding kind of sacrilegious, it's a big sandbox to play in when you kind of dig into all the things you could do with the Bible. And it does kind of sink its teeth into the established archangels. Raphael show up, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, they're all there. So it's really, it kind of does a good job of picking out these things that you almost know and can expect, but then also playing with the notion of if these people had concepts, if they were people, if they had humanity, and what that means, how divine is an angel, how fallen is a demon, do they intersect? And it's such a cool freaking thing. I'm only a couple issues in, so number 9, admittedly, I don't have much ground for what is actually happening in there, but if you're at your comic shop, ask for this, get the trade, get the single issues. It is such a cool concept.
There you go. Yeah, and shout out to the crew at Bad Cave. Yeah.
I want to check that out. That sounds awesome.
Right?
Yeah,
it's always good fertile ground for stories. I mean, of course, you got stuff like Preacher and a bunch of other stuff, but the Bible makes good fiction in general. So
yeah,
there you go. My pick this week is actually book 2 of a book I have not read book 1 of, but it's because I just discovered what it is. It's actually called Third World War, book 2, Back to Babylon. And the reason I'm picking this up is because I've admitted this a couple of times. I have fallen in love with UK science fiction comics. It's something that I feel like properly discovered about 2 years ago. I was always familiar with stuff like Humanoids in 2000 AD and all the writers and creators who came from the British invasion into to DC and Marvel, but I don't think I ever gave the stuff that birthed that stuff a chance really up until about 2 years ago. And the thing that's cool about this, it's actually by Pat Mills, who's been behind 2000 AD and Judge Dredd for years. He also did a book called Martial Law. And it's also behind. It's also by the late great Carlos Escuela, who's a Judge Dredd who's been a long time Judge Dredd artist, and he's done a bunch of stuff with Garth Ennis as well. And yeah, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. Third World War. It's a dystopia. Our main character just came out of an eye-opening experience in Central America, where she's just discovered that evil corporations have been robbing like the people of Central America blind and exploiting them. And now she's going back to Britain after having started a revolution there. She's going back to Britain, where she's originally from, to start a revolution back home as well. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely appropriate for the times, you know what I mean? And you know, it's an interesting concept, and yeah, I'm just really curious about it. So, and also love the fact that there's a bunch of brown people on the cover. I love that. So cool. Oh, we got some viewer comments. What's going on down here? Tom Perry missed the intros. Who was the beautiful lady with the awesome tattoos?
Oh.
Well, my name is Troy Out. No, you're talking about
That's right. That works is my husband.
Oh, okay, that works. Smiling. Okay, there you go. Very polite man. I like it. Dredd. Yes, exactly. Judge Dredd. Always.
Yeah, we love Judge Dredd.
All right. Cool.
On camera, I'm not going to do an impression.
Judge Dredd. Oh, you can do a Judge Dredd impression?
Yeah.
You're not going to do it?
Oh, gosh. I read the comics, and then, you know, when that movie came out, it was like on loop. I loved it. And the remake, oh my gosh, with Carl Urban.
Oh, okay.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I love all that stuff.
That Stallone movie is underrated, I kind of feel. I actually really
totally underrated. I want a sequel so bad. Calm down.
Ilya, who's that beautiful man? Hashtag Team Troy. Thank you. There you go. Give me the
hashtags are happening already.
The hashtags are happening already. Absolutely. So those are some of our picks. And now we're going to show you guys some of the big ticket items available at your local comic shop, but we're going to switch it up this week. We're going to show you the toys because we have Natasha on the show.
Yay!
So here is what's at comic shops in the toy section.
Hey, Previews World. Here's this week's rundown of some of the toys, statues, and collectibles hitting store shelves for the first time. Let's take a look inside the Previews toy chest. Be sure to check with your local comic shop for availability. And to see more, head over to PREVIEWSworld.com/toychest. There you'll feast your eyes on more hot new collectibles.
All right. Okay. And thank you, Natasha, for making that possible every single week on our feed. Yeah, Natasha hosts Previews Toy Chest every week. Every Tuesday it goes out on our social media. So if you're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it doesn't matter. Like you can catch what's available now at your local comic shop today. So
I throw it on my TikTok.
There you go. And your TikTok. There you go.
I throw it on my TikTok too to make sure everybody sees it.
There you go. And also check out Natasha on TikTok. So there you go. So actually, we saw the Funko Deadpool figure, right, with him on the throne, which reminds me of King Ralph. Maybe it's supposed to be King Conan, but it reminds me of King Ralph for some reason. But Natasha, geez, Ashton, you got there we go.
There we go.
You got a little something to say about Deadpool this week. What's going on? Are you excited?
I am so hype about this. So Deadpool's like officially joining the MCU if you haven't heard yet. Also, if you don't follow Ryan Reynolds on like any social media, you should because he's hilarious. Deadpool is joining the MCU as an R-rated superhero. I am so excited about this. Like, there's something that's like so squeaky clean about the way Marvel movies work that I feel like it just needs like Deadpool just needs to get in there and like mess it up a little bit. I'm so excited to hear like I'm interested like how does that work? Because with the whole like breaking the fourth wall thing, like what does that mean in terms of interacting with the rest of the MCU characters? So I'm thrilled.
Yeah. No, I'm actually curious too. Yeah.
It's gonna be so messy. In like the best way possible. Like the Merc with the mouth is gonna just it's gonna be so messy.
I remember a lot of people were all like, "Oh, Marvel will never include Deadpool in the MCU because they do only PG-13 and it's rated R." And like I kept hearing that for like honestly the last couple of years. And I guess I've learned time and time again, you really just can't doubt the MCU and what they're willing to do. You know what I mean? And I think this is a smart move. Like
it's a smart move, and honestly, those other things had to play out.
Yeah.
So, and Deadpool had to establish himself. Deadpool was very much not a backseat character, but certainly not a front of the line character. And Ryan Reynolds turned him into a front of the line, first in line, in your face, fourth wall, like amazing. Every second is hilarious or ooh or ah, really brought it forth. And he had to take the time, I think, to establish that. And then now with everything merging and stuff, like for them, I know Ryan talked about if the MCU didn't pick him up, he was going to do it himself. So this is kind of cool because now we get to tie him in. So like, with the first Deadpool, the little X-Men jokes and things like that, like now we get to kind of see where those can kind of interject and like really get going. And I know I'm really excited for it and can't wait to see what horrible, wonderful things happen.
No, absolutely. No, here's the thing, right? Like, I mean, we pretty much have the multiverse established. Like you pointed out, certain things had to happen. So at this point, it can all be expansive. I mean, there's a reason that those X-Men movies are on Disney Plus. Like, they're just going to play in all the sandboxes all at the same time. So, yeah. Johnny's like. Johnny's pointing out in the chat here. After Deadpool 2, he now has Cable's time traveling device. That's a very good point.
That's true.
That opens up some possibilities. I didn't think about that. That's a very good point, Johnny.
Yeah.
So
there's also a weird moment there where like Josh Brolin's Thanos, but like also Cable.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, you know what? I don't think that's not going to be mentioned at some point.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I think that's a real thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they're willing to port over into MCU proper now. Like it should be fun. Don't expect to see it on Disney Plus. It'll be on Hulu.
No.
It'll be on other
rated R. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Amazon Prime probably then.
Right. There you go. So some more stuff out this week. There's a new book series called Jujutsu Kaisen. And it's new to me, but it's not new to a lot of people because it's been around for a while. But what Viz has done is they've released a prequel book, number 0, that has recently hit comic shops, and that's available now. So here's a little trailer for those of you unfamiliar. When we come back, we'll do Social Swarm. And that's Jujutsu Kaisen from Viz Media. That's available right now at your local comic shop. That's actually been available for a couple of weeks now. And like I said, it's a prequel book that they've released, a number 0 or volume 0 that's going to precede all the other titles that have already come out. So you're getting a new type of context for this already ongoing series, which is very popular with people. So I'm actually curious to find out more about it because the actual premise sounds pretty cool. So you know what? I said Social Swamp earlier, but it's not Social Swamp. It's Asinine Arguments with Ashton. So we got a big one this week. This is an interesting one. So I'm going to fork it over to Ashton and watch her try to navigate these muddy shark infested waters. Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. So I don't even know how to start this. Okay, so on our Twitter feed, I believe on the Previews World feed, we received a statement from man Jamal Ingle, who has said, I don't say this lightly, it's time for Marvel to put the Punisher out to pasture. The concept is corrupted. And he made this statement in lieu of recent events across the United States. And so in saying that, it kind of opened up a much larger concept and discussion about censoring characters that have been misappropriated from their original concepts. And so we took this to you guys to discuss amongst yourselves on Previews World feed. So we asked you, we want you to know, should a creation be banned or retired because of the way they've been appropriated in real life events? So let's dig into some of your answers and try to keep it as neutral as we can. Norma's, what is happening with this name? Normash the
Wanderer?
The Wanderer? Okay, all right. I feel like we spent too long on that. Okay. Banning stuff is a slippery slope. What is and isn't offensive is subjective. And once we start trying to protect people by canceling work, we end up like Fahrenheit 451. Valid point. Nathan says, I don't think so. Writers have been very careful to ensure that Frank Castle does not see himself as a hero. But if it's a huge issue, maybe giving him a redemption arc or something, or just write a story where he takes down militant white supremacists. A little on the news. TV Puncher says, I wouldn't miss Frank Castle. Decent dude, but his image has been tainted by those that misinterpret his views.
All right. All right, who's gonna, like, nobody wants to go first. I mean, like, yeah, look, you know, like some business happened in the United States last week while we were recording, actually, which was actually pretty interesting.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah, and you know, I'll say this: I saw more people who did not agree with Jamal versus people who did agree with him. And I saw a lot of people suggest that oh, they should do this with the Punisher. I saw some people like, oh, they should make him black, they should make him gay, like, you know, like that's going to be the catch-all, like that's just going to fix everything.
Fix anything.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. And then I saw a lot of people saying like, and I know Natasha can weigh in on this a lot. I saw a lot of people saying like, well, they should probably, like this, like the one of the comments said, they need to just recontextualize Frank Castle so that his story isn't one that one that can be easily latched on or reappropriated for groups. But here's the thing: they've already done that. Like I would argue that they've been doing that for like at least a couple of decades now, if not since the character's inception. And one of the things I was going to point out, one of the books I read last year that I actually really enjoyed and I thought was excellent was Punisher Soviet, where Frank Castle meets basically the mirror image of himself, but he's a Russian. And there's a lot of interesting conversations about the path of revenge and where hatred leads you and how it's just a cycle of violence. And like, yeah, it's all right there. Like people have been doing this for years, and even just as recently as like early last year. So yeah, I get frustrated with these things primarily because I think it's coming from people who assume a lot about comics in general. You know what I mean? And they are taking a lot of the stuff at face value, just like we could argue the people who are misappropriating this character as well. So yeah, it just drives me nuts. But I'm curious what you have to say, like particularly you, Natasha, because I know you got a Punisher tat, don't you?
I do.
Oh, let's get on that. Let's get that, Johnny. Yeah,
I do. It's a hard one. Because honestly, for years I've seen the Punisher skull used in what it's not representing at all. Like, you know, we talked about this earlier about a lot of those people that use it or have it as a brand or a badge or, you know, whatever, a sticker on their car or truck or whatever, clearly have no idea who Frank Castle is. They just see the skull. They think it's, you know, like you're saying that misappropriation, but like really, they think, oh, he's the hero of this or he's the hero of this. He's totally not. He's one of the epitomes of an anti-hero, like, you know, the revenge, the killing to get the job done for a certain purpose kind of thing. And like, and it's really, really hard. And like, I grew up reading The Punisher and getting to know Frank Castle and all that kind of stuff. And the reason, like, there's a whole story behind why I have the tattoo. And it was, you know, I'm not going to get into that, but like, it's hard. And it's like I said before, this is probably one of those instances where I'm okay with gatekeeping. And I said that, and please don't anyone like clip this down to just that statement.
Right, yeah. Just play it on loop.
Please, yeah. She's okay with gatekeeping. What? No, it's when it's used in this manner that is not a proper representation. And it's hard, and it's a slippery slope, and it is hard. And, you know, I mean, I've, you know, even talked with my teenager about certain things, and just even before recent events, you know, when we see it used a certain way, and I'm like, haha, never read a comic, you know, like, exactly. And that is really the only time that I'm ever like, you don't know what you're talking about, you know? And, but yeah, I mean, it's hard. You can write all the things you want to, but that doesn't mean someone who sees it this way is actually going to read it. Right, and that's, I think that's where the slope is. And, you know, it's tricky. It's a tricky one, and a delicate, I mean, considering everything that's happened in recent events, it's a delicate matter for sure. But the bigger picture is, I mean, we know who the Punisher is. We know who Frank Castle is, who he represents, who he, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, unfortunately, some people have taken it in the wrong way. And I hope not more people keep taking it in the wrong way, and that it becomes an actual problem. It's such a, you know, a small detail, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely. What about you, Ashton? I know you're not big on this, on the, you know, the superhero stuff. Well, he's not a superhero, but you're not big on that, the Marvel DC thing. But like, what do you think on this, this whole thing?
Yeah, so the first thing I kind of want to jump on is something that was said in one of the comments about like giving the Punisher a redemption arc. I think that's even more tone deaf than anything that's already been done, because you're kind of like, you're playing with revisionist history at that point and acting like he's something he's not. So I think that doesn't solve any problems. That kind of, if anything, probably creates more. And like Natasha said, it is hard, and it's a slippery slope, because it's like, even if Marvel did put him out to pasture, so to speak, you know, it doesn't get rid of him. He's not gone. His symbol's not gone. There's no way to really undo it. Like, no amount of censorship here fixes the problem. And frankly, like, in terms of like taking a hot take, and I want to be delicate with hot takes here, like, I don't think Marvel should be bullied into like getting rid of their characters. Like, they own that. He's an icon. He's important in the comic book community. And I think it's unfair to be bullied into getting rid of him because of the way he's been misappropriated. The Marvel didn't do that. They weren't out telling people to use it. So I think it's a little bit of an unfair takeaway.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that's hard there is, because the Punisher logo is a skull, it's a little like, can't do much about it. Like, even if Marvel says don't use it, like, okay, that's fine. But then just like an image of a skull is public domain. So there is no solution. It doesn't matter if you censor him. It doesn't fix anything.
Yeah, I agree. There's also a part of me, like, you know, I remember like what the Anti-Defamation League like banned Pepe the Frog, and like, you know, made him a racist thing or something like that. And I remember thinking, like, I've never read any of those comics that character is actually originally from, but I remember feeling so bad for the creator. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I say that because like, my whole thing is like, this approach is you, like, funny enough, punishing the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's really what it boils down to, especially with something like the Punisher, which is owned by a company like Marvel, right? But ultimately, the creators of that book do get kickbacks from that character being used in television and movies, and et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how much it is, but still, like, you know, it's almost like you're not only you're taking the toy away from fans, but you're also kind of you're reaching into the pocket of the artist and taking that money away from them as well. And artists already don't get paid enough in comics. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you have something that's like a multimedia breakthrough thing, like, you know, something that like goes to television, goes to movies, it's been in cartoons, you know what I mean? It's almost like it's kind of rare and kind of unique, and like that's actually the mark for success when it comes to doing like some of these like these creations for some of these companies. So yeah, I'm like, you know, don't punish the creator, like don't like, you know, don't go down that road. I also kind of find it ironic that the Punisher symbol that I see used, the one that I've seen used the most often, is actually the Thomas Jane one, the one from the I think it's like the 2004 movie, I believe it is, which is kind of like the goofiest, most toothless version.
Watch your mouth, Troy. Watch your mouth.
I'm just saying. Look, I'm not knocking the movie. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of like the funny version of the Punisher compared to the John Bernthal and the Ray Stevenson and the Dolph Lundgren version. You know what I mean? And the comic book. And the comic book version. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like like that's the one that I see used the most.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't even know if Marvel even has the copyright to that particular one, to be honest, because it was over. I think it was like over a decade ago. So that's my big takeaway is and Garth Ennis actually, I'm glad he actually spoke up. There's a comment, there's like a screen grab floating around, and I didn't want to use it on the show because I don't know where it came from, but he makes a few comments about it, which I thought was really good because he's been writing Punisher for 20 years, and just like he wrote that Punisher Soviet book that I picked up, and like his whole thing is Frank is not a hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if absolutely nothing else, like using it kind of completely underscores the ignorance of people reaching for it, because it's like, and Natasha touched on this earlier, like it shows that you don't know what you're saying. Like if you think you're a hero, you're not. And you're also dumb because now you've reached for like a logo to represent yourself as a hero, and you've used something that is in fact the exact opposite of the person you're idolizing yourself to be. Yeah,
exactly. It's
like taking a Peter Parker or something and being like, I'm the best villain ever.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, like, what? Johnny says we got some comments here. What do we got, Johnny? Jose Sanchez says, agreed. He shouldn't be bullied out. Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that. I know some people will not agree with that, but sorry. As a guy who has SNCC tattooed across his knuckles, people need to separate fiction from reality first. I agree with you on that, 100%. Totally. Jose Sanchez also, the movies are a gem, sir.
Thank you.
To each his own. Look, I'm also not the most diehard Punisher fan. Like, I really did not like the character when I didn't dislike him, but I didn't really care one way or another about him until Garth Ennis started writing him. But
to be fair, some of these movies, imagine the timeline that they came out before Marvel Cinematic got huge, before any of this. As a fan, we just, you give us like tiny little treats. We're like, yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Ooh, a piece of candy. It's okay if it's a little stale.
Right. I mean, that's fair. I have like, there's a lot of things about that movie. Like, I don't like that they replaced Maganucci with John Travolta. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I could get into. Laugh aloud. The Thomas Jane Punisher is a hardcore killer compared to Travolta's villain. Exactly my point, which is kind of the problem. So. Bosnian09. Marvel should just trademark the skull and start filing lawsuits. That should resolve this issue. I mean, you can. You
can in theory do that, but like, is that really a good use of resources? And like, you're gonna need an entire like legal department just to file the amount of lawsuits this is gonna be. Like, is that feasible?
Does that mean I'm gonna get sued?
Right, exactly. And that's the slippery slope that I think someone mentioned earlier. Like, I know a lot of people are like, well, Disney sued over a Mickey Mouse. Some kid's family wanted to use Mickey Mouse on their tombstone or something. It was something weird. I don't know what it was. But they pursued legal action.
Hardcore.
I kind of feel like that's an urban legend, but regardless.
The tombstone? That feels very insensitive.
Yeah, I feel like that's something somebody made up and everybody nothing, Jon Stone said. It's funny how parallel Deadpool is to Punisher and how vastly different society embraces them. That's actually good.
Yeah.
I've heard about that. Yeah, they are definitely both like just kind of, in a way, mindless killers, but at the same time, like they have their own like unique backstories that are sympathetic.
I mean, if you go over to like Harley Quinn and Joker, how many people idolize that relationship?
Right. Right. Yeah.
We do not have time.
Yeah.
I get
because I'm pretty sure that's not healthy.
I get more weirded out by the Silk Spectre comedian cosplays. I'm like, ooh, yeah. Those are the ones where I'm like, yikes. Tracy says maybe the storyline can adopt the reality of what's going on in real life. He himself, the Punisher, decides to change his own logo in the Marvel world. I mean, I guess. I mean, I feel like the books are.
I feel like that's still giving in to the bullies.
Yeah, right. And I also feel like the character the comics have largely been about reflecting what's going on in real life, like especially the Punisher Max stuff.
Yeah,
like especially the Punisher Max stuff. Like in the last like 2 decades has been about like, all right, he's talking about like, military industrial complex or, crooked cops. Like that's another thing. Punisher actually kills a lot of cops, by the way. I just want to point that out. Right. So that's a whole nother thing on top of that. But yeah, so anyway, that was my big takeaway. I think, Jose Sanchez is back. I think this is one of those
situations
where there isn't a solution because we all know what the Punisher stands for, but the people who use the logo obviously don't know about him.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
So, yeah, unless we decided to add comics to the school agenda to educate people, I don't think anything can be done. I mean, that's right.
I don't find a problem with that.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Of course, my 2 kids already read comics, so
they'll be advanced.
Yes, yeah. They'll be in honors.
There you go. I know Brian Michael Bendis was teaching like comics classes in Portland or something like that at one time or another. I remember that. Yeah. So, but yeah. So thanks, guys. I appreciate your comments. Some of them were thoughtful. Some of them were absolute crap, but that's okay. Not the ones we featured on the show.
I'm leaving.
Well, I'm not talking about you two in particular, and I'm not talking about the people we feature on the show.
Good,
but like
getting up is hard right now.
That's fair. But there's like, I think there is a fine line, and I think like for those of you who had like a nice nuanced reaction to these things and thoughts, I appreciate it. We always appreciate talking about comics because really we're here to defend comics. I mean, I'm going to be open about that. Like we are here to defend comics straight up. Like, there's a lot of Natasha jokes about gatekeeping, but look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think gatekeeping is okay sometimes because there's a lot of people talking about comics who don't know anything about them. You know what I mean? And like treat the medium like trash, treat it disposable, assume that it's a lot of like really surface baseline things, and don't view it as art. And I'm here to tell you, like, it is art, and a lot of thought goes into making them. So,
well, see, I don't think that applies to the gatekeeping side of things. That's just educating people who just don't know.
Right.
Like,
well, I mean, that part.
Gatekeeping could be like, hey, I like X-Men comics. Cool. Now tell me which ones. Who was this artist? Who was this? You have to validate your nerd card kind of thing.
Well, I would. There were a couple of times, and I had to rein myself in here, but like, there's a couple of times where people are making comments about this Punisher thing, and I was like, "What's the last Punisher comic you read?" Like, seriously, like, because all the things you're saying sounds like you have an impression of the character. I
was like, what's this? Oh, what's that?
Oh, okay. Wait, is that like OG, like legit, or is it a reprint? Or okay,
it sits right here on my desk.
All right. I was about to say, anyone. That's a real deal Holyfield. I love it. There you go.
My husband got that for me.
All right. Geek Cred official. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Ashton, what is this week's poll? Like, I have no idea what this week's poll is.
This week's poll is about clowns.
Okay.
Begrudgingly.
That's right. Yeah.
So, haha number 1 from Image Comics is out today. And I wanted to spotlight it because it is written by W. Maxwell Prince, who also writes Ice Cream Man, which I love. But it explores like the weird underbelly of people that are clowns and like what it means to be a clown and like the emotions associated with it. So I asked you guys if you think that clowns are inherently happy or sad. And then your choices were happy, sad, scary, because I knew I wasn't going to get out of this clown thing without allotting the obvious answer to be chosen.
We got.
So what do you guys think? Are clowns happy or sad or scary?
Well, as someone who has an uncle who went to clown school, and
really?
He was a professional clown, he is very happy and a little scary.
Okay.
No, he's very happy. He's actually the one that married my husband and I. Not dressed like a clown. That part out. Not dressed like a clown. Yeah.
So you're gonna go with? Are you gonna go with happy, Natasha? Because
I am gonna go with happy.
You're the deciding factor here.
Yeah. I'm going with happy.
What are people saying? Scary and sad are tied. Wow.
Sad.
That is my nightmare. A sad, scary clown. Somebody replied to this and was like, I have a clown phobia because I was chased by a clown when I was a kid. And I was like, all right, we've had enough of this.
So there it is. I have a Well, there you go. I guess the audience has spoken, guys, and the customer's always right. So they're sad.
And they're right.
You're wrong.
Oh, well, hey guys, I guess that's almost it, but we do have a comic shop shout out that we like to do every week. So Ashton, what is the comic shop shout out for this week?
Panicking, finding the page. This week's comic shop shout out is Vans CCG in Ridgeland, Mississippi, and it comes from Justin Fuller. Now, if you want us to spotlight your comic shop on this show, find us on social media, tag your shop if they have a handle, and also use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS. We will find you and we will shout out your shop on the show because we want to give all comic shops as much love as we can.
Absolutely. And I love this store because apparently like they have a championship game that they do with the collectible card gamers, I guess you want to call them. And but they have a championship belt. And so going through their pictures, like I saw like people holding the belt, and I was like, this is amazing. It says Vans CCG on it. You'll see a picture of it. You'll see a picture of it in the closing credits, guys. But there you go. And that's about it for Previews World Weekly. But hold on, John Snowden's back. Clowns are only happy when they get that creepy ice cream truck on the road.
Oh, hold on, what?
Yeah, I guess
that's American Horror Story. That's what that's where that's going right there.
That's where that's going.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna pop in here and say that's interrupting producer here. Then that's from Twisted Metal, the video game.
Oh, that's right.
That's
yeah.
Right. Wow. Holy crap!
Yeah.
That's a callback.
Yeah, from like the old PlayStation days. I think what was it? Was it Twisted Metal?
Yeah, it was Twisted Metal.
So, yeah.
Okay. I think was it like Sprinkles the Clown or something like that?
Yeah.
I remember that.
If you're watching it now and you remember what the name of the clown was in Twisted Metal, let us know in the comments because I want to know what that is because I'm not going to do the dirty work now. I want to see if anyone out there actually knows.
John Snowden, tell us.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Oh, wow.
Share your knowledge.
See, that's the interesting thing about the pop culture landscape. I kind of feel like that thing was really popular at one point in time. And it was at the height of like I want to say the Korn, Limp Bizkit, Insane Clown Posse, that whole thing.
Yeah, all right.
And then it just disappeared. And like they don't even make games of it anymore, which is actually kind of interesting. So anyway, but hey, real quick, I want to ask. I already know Ashton's hater comment on this one, but Natasha, are you amped for WandaVision this week?
Oh my gosh, 2 more days. 2 more days.
So that's a yes.
I'm
okay.
so excited. You understand? So when we had The Mandalorian, like Friday nights are our family like film night or get together night where we all no phones, no anything. We sit together and we watch something. And The Mandalorian gone, like, we haven't had anything going on. WandaVision coming up. I don't care if it's a half an hour. Like, I'm super excited to watch this with my family. I have a 6 and 17-year-old and then my husband and like all of us just like cram in our little, actually right behind here, we move this couch and then the TV's here and we watch it on our big screen. And I'm really, really excited. I'm really excited to find out what is going on. Like, how are they in this universe? What's like, how, what, why? Tell me more. Like, I want to know what is going on. So I'm a little hyped. I'm guessing Ashton is not, because that setup right there.
It is not that I'm not hype, and I don't hate WandaVision. Don't get it twisted. I personally, this is not for me. Like, I just feel like there's so much Marvel stuff, like so much. And I feel really oversaturated and overwhelmed and I can't keep up. And it's like one of those things where I just need to pick and choose the stuff. And it's like, I can't, like, I have Star Wars occupying my brain like rent free all the time. So I need to like pick the things that I'm going to invest in. And like, I like Scarlet Witch. Don't get me wrong. I think she's dope, but I don't know that this is something that like week after week I'll be super hype about the same way I am with like The Mandalorian. I'll probably begrudgingly watch the first episode so that we can talk about it next week, but I don't hate it. It's just too much. It's just too much for me. I am overwhelmed.
Johnny's coming for you.
And for me right now, give me more, because the state of affairs that we're in, like we're home, like only just the last 2 weeks have I had any of like I got a Hulu usually for my TV watching, because it's stuff that my husband and I won't watch together anyway. And it's been weeks, months with like no new programming, no new anything. And like sorry, my kids are like it's been no new anything. So for me, like, and then we've already had the end game. We've already had all like I need more Marvel. Like I've got my fill of not Phil. I don't mean that, John Favreau. I don't mean to fill at all of Star Wars stuff. Give me more Star Wars stuff. But I'm saying like we're at a point with Marvel, like it's been such a break that like cool, start shoveling in the treats again. Come back. Like, give me more. Give me more. And then the beauty of it too is these shows that are coming out that are on Disney Plus are like a half an hour, 45 minutes. Like it's not 3 hours of Marvel stories. It's little tidbits, little, like I said, call them like little treats. They're little bits, and like, it's going to be great and interesting. And then, it's just, I keep saying treats. Clearly I'm pregnant. I just want some candy. It's all stepping stones that are going to keep leading into these bigger movies. And like, I know when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out, I loved watching those initially because you got to watch a Marvel movie and then you would watch this, and then, every week. And then, Winter Soldier will come out. And then suddenly you got all these Easter eggs and all these like little ties that got bound together from that movie, and then it connects to like the next movie, and that and that's just really fun and exciting as a fan to have these little things. And then the fact that like I know when Agents came out, like if I didn't watch a movie in time, I wouldn't watch a week or so of that show until I watched that movie because I didn't want anything to get ruined. But like all these little things, like they're all just stepping stones leading to the bigger, bigger picture, the bigger waterfall, the beauty. So
I appreciate the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I definitely watched that show religiously.
I watched all of them.
I didn't watch the last
the bad ones.
Yeah, there are some bad seasons.
There are some bad seasons. But I watched them all. Yeah, because it was for me. It was, and I hate using the word filler because for me that's such a burn to artists and the creators and all that kind of stuff to call something that they put their hard work in. Oh, well, that's just filler. Like, no, it's still story. It's still stories that matter. They maybe you don't want to ingest them as much, or you're not as invested in them, but you still are paying attention. You're still, there might be little tidbits. You're like, oh my gosh, that one. And then later on you're watching, and like the last season of S.H.I.E.L.D., like they tied up so many things that like, if you did watch all those other seasons, you had that sentimental feeling, just kind of like in Endgame when they said like certain lines that they might've said 4 movies ago, or, things like that. It's that completion, that closure. So, I'm excited to summarize.
I was waiting for her to finish all that.
Yeah, sorry.
Johnny.
Johnny's got something to say.
There we go.
Interrupting producer Johnny Rose here.
Interrupting producer.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Hey, that's my line.
No, I'm gonna misappropriate it. I'm excited about this on a number of levels. I know how Ashton was kind of saying that there's so much Marvel out there, but at the same time, there's so many Marvel comic books. And part of what the appreciation I think of for a lot of fans is the fact that in all these comic books, there is a shared universe that like one story arc would go into another one. You can read an individual comic and enjoy it. You can read just Amazing Spider-Man and but when your characters start spilling over into other comics, you have more of an appreciation of the interconnectivity of the comic. And the same, exactly. And the same thing goes for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I have an appreciation of that to be able to continue that story. That's one. 2, the Vision series by, I believe it's Tom King and Gabriel Hernandez Walta, is phenomenal. It is an amazing read. And if anyone out there who has not read it yet, do yourself a favor, stop by your friendly local comic shop, pick that up, because that is an incredible read. They did an amazing job of making me care about a character that I never really even cared about in comics before. I'm like, I don't care about him. It's like, he's an android, whatever. That book is so well written and so well drawn. Do yourself a favor and pick that up. And in fact, Troy, if I remember correctly, there might be an article on PREVIEWSworld.com about comics for Vision.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you bring up the Tom King thing, the Tom King series, because it turns out that the movie's actually the TV show is not entirely based on that. It's actually based on a earlier story from like the 80s, where Vision and Scarlet Witch go to suburbia. Which is actually kind of interesting. I didn't realize that either. So, but yeah, we're gonna. Mike's putting together a cool little article. Start here. That's going to be WandaVision related, where it'll give you kind of a rundown of all the stories that have potentially inspired this particular story. So
I wouldn't say that it was directly inspired by it. I'm just saying, like, for me personally, that book, I love that. And so, 3.
Oh, that's a whole. Keep it coming.
I'm gonna take up the rest of this show, you guys. Like, I'm running this show now.
I'm making a list. Go on.
I love 1950s mid-century modern kitsch stuff.
Yes.
So that is right up my alley. You put them into like this Leave It to Beaver like show setting. I'm all for it. If I see a tiki bar, you're gonna see me lose my crap.
Does anybody remember the movie Pleasantville?
Yes.
Oh yes, I love that movie.
Okay, yeah. It reminds me very much of Pleasantville, which is actually pretty interesting. So, Ashton, you weren't even born when it came out.
I know. Pleasantville's a movie with Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon.
This is before or after his gambling addiction? Had to have been before.
Before. This is before Spider-Man. Yeah.
And lastly, I'll just say this: it's a comic book. It's a comic book in another medium. Like, I will, regardless of what it is. I will always give any comic book movie a chance, because I am just happy to live in an age where we can see the things that we love growing up be presented in another medium for everyone to enjoy. So
that's what I was going to chime in after you talked. If you didn't say that, I was the fact that we get to see our art and our stories from paper into real life is the coolest thing.
Yeah, because we definitely come from a generation. I think that the three of us come from a generation of like, we're just going to beat up on Ashton for the last 5 minutes of the show.
The youngling.
Don't beat up on her, because I can mute your microphone from here.
Okay. but no, Johnny out. But no, we definitely come from a generation of people that fans that were attention starved for content like this in terms of in movies and television. So, because if not, we were stuck with stuff like Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher. So there you go, bringing it back around. Here you go. All right, so that's what we for Previews Weekly. I've been one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood, aka the Duchess of Free Comic Book Day.
And Natasha, where can people find you?
CanonDollX.com. CanonDollX anything. Just Google CanonDollX and you'll find me.
All right. Cool.
And it's canon, like the weapon, doll like Barbie, and X like X-Men.
There you go. And I want to remind you guys, follow, and subscribe if you enjoyed this conversation. Even if you hate it, just hate us. Just hate subscribe.
Like us.
Just hate subscribe, because I know that's a thing.
Subscribe that button.
Hate subscribe that button if you need to. And hey guys, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week, and we will catch you at the spinner rack.
Don't forget that you can catch Previews World Weekly streaming live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific at Previews World on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.